More, what if your kindness is the very chain that keeps you from your calling? We've been taught to be nice, to smooth every rough edge, more to smile while our spine bends. But there comes a moment when being kind to everyone is not kindness at all, it's surrender. More, a soul can be smothered by the softest pillows, a purpose can be strangled by 1,000 polite yeses. If you were given a mission, a mantle, more a field to cultivate, why offer its harvest to every passerby who demands it? There is a goodness that heals and a goodness that hides. One is courageous, more, the other cowardly. One speaks truth in love, the other avoids truth in fear. The former sets captives free, the latter keeps everyone comfortable, more including the chains. You are not called to keep every person happy, you are called to keep your purpose holy. Consider your life as a vineyard. More, fences don't insult the grapes, they protect them. Gates don't reject the world, they regulate it. Without boundaries, more, any beast tramples the vines and calls it a feast. You have been wondering why your fruit never ripens, why your dreams taste of dust. More, it's because you confuse open-heartedness with open borders to your soul. Guard the vineyard. You are steward, not victim. Some will say, more, isn't love always gentle? Love is gentle, but never spineless. Love is patient, but never passive about destruction. Love feeds the hungry, yes, more, but love does not fund entitlement, excuse abuse, or nurse manipulation. Love is a surgeon when it must be, steady, precise, more, and unafraid of the necessary cut. When you keep rescuing those who refuse responsibility, you are not loving them, you are protecting their prison. More, stop being kind to everyone in the way that erases you. Stop apologizing for having a backbone. More, for saying no, for refusing to be used as a doormat draped in grace. Your no is not hatred, it is stewardship. More, it is the sacred word that keeps your yes honest. Every wrong yes becomes a theft, stolen hours, stolen energy, stolen clarity. More, and every stolen yes delays the one assignment only you can fulfill. Discernment is the oil in your lamp. Without it, more, you meet every demand as if it were destiny. There are people who need a hand, and there are people who need to stand. There are seasons to carry, more, and seasons to call. There are moments to comfort the broken and moments to confront the breaker. You were not made to be everyone's cushion, more. Sometimes you are called to be a mirror, sometimes a door, sometimes a watchman who sounds the warning trumpet even when the crowd prefers a lullaby. More. Ask yourself who keeps drawing from your well but never brings a cup, who only appears at harvest time with empty baskets and flattering words. More. Who calls your boundaries selfish because your boundaries stop their selfishness. Let the questions judge the fruit. More, if the pattern is extraction without reciprocity, kindness has been co-opted. Return it to its rightful owner, truth. There is a holiness to your focus. More, your attention is a sanctuary. Every kind distraction is a candle snuffed out, a prayer interrupted, a blueprint left half drawn. More, do not desecrate the altar of your peace. Turn away from the noise that baptizes itself as urgency. Not every emergency is your assignment. More, not every open door is an invitation. Some are traps with doorknobs painted gold. But won't people be disappointed? Yes, and more. Great callings are not built on the applause of the unstable. If the price of another's smile is the sale of your soul, decline the bargain. Remember, more, you are not responsible for managing someone else's reaction to your obedience. If they label your boundaries as betrayal, more, let their words fall to the ground. Truth will vindicate you in time. Kindness that tells the truth may cause a momentary sting, more, but it also creates the possibility of freedom. Niceness that tells a lie breeds lifelong paralysis. Which do you want stamped on your legacy? More, they made me feel good, or they helped me become good. Choose the latter. Speak with a steady voice. Say, more, I love you too much to help you stay small. I respect myself too much to let you shrink me. That is not cruelty, that is covenant. Between you, more, your maker, and your mission. Today, revise the map of your yes. Draw borders, name priorities. Appoint guardians at the gates. Time, energy, integrity. more enjoy. Decide which requests get a passport and which get a polite refusal. Practice sentences that save your future. I'm not available for that. That doesn't align with my priorities. I can't commit more, and I won't feel guilty for it. Guilt will knock, but you decide who holds the keys. And to those who truly need you, the ones who are ready to grow, more who show gratitude, who labor beside you, give generously. Pour out, be lavish. Kindness shines brightest where it is stewarded, not squandered. More, the point is not to harden your heart, it is to aim it. When your kindness is aimed, it becomes healing medicine. When it is scattered to every demand, more, it becomes watered down syrup that nourishes no one. Stop being kind to everyone in the way that costs you yourself. More, start being faithful to the voice that called you, to the work placed in your hands, to the people entrusted to your care. Let your yes be a flame. More, your no be clean, your boundaries clear, and your love fierce. Some will misunderstand, some will accuse, but purpose will applaud. More, Haven will recognize the sound of a life no longer rented out to approval. So I ask you again, what if your kindness has been the chain? Break it. Lift your head. Close the gates that must be closed. Open the gates that must be opened. And walk unburdened, undistracted, more unashamed, into the assignment that requires nothing less than your whole, undivided heart. Kindness without truth becomes enabling. More truth without kindness becomes wounding. Wisdom marries both. To expand this idea, imagine the human heart as a scale. More, a delicate balance where kindness sits on one side and truth sits on the other. When the weight tips too far in either direction, more what was meant to heal can begin to harm. If kindness dominates without the grounding anchor of truth, it ceases to be genuine kindness. More, it becomes indulgence, enabling people to continue in destructive habits, validating lies, or affirming behaviors that are leading them toward ruin. More, the smile may be warm, the words may be soothing, but underneath the damage grows because truth has been silenced. More, in the name of niceness, the rot is allowed to spread, and what could have been confronted early becomes entrenched. More, this is the counterfeit kindness that feels safe, but is ultimately unloving. On the other side, more, truth without kindness can feel like a blade without a handle. Yes, the truth cuts, but if wielded without compassion, more, it leaves people bleeding rather than healing. Some pride themselves on just telling it like it is, yet their delivery wounds more than it restores. More, truth was never meant to be used as a hammer to crush the spirit. It was meant to be a light that exposes, a scalpel that heals, a guide that restores. More, without kindness, truth loses its redemptive power. It may win the argument, but it loses the heart. And when the heart is lost, more, the truth itself may be rejected, not because it was false, but because it came wrapped in cruelty. Wisdom, then, more, is the marriage of both, kindness that dares to tell the truth, and truth that is softened and guided by kindness. More, think of a mentor who sees potential in a struggling student. To be kind without truth would be to overlook the mistakes, to smile and say, more, you're doing fine, when the student is failing. To give truth without kindness would be to say, more, you'll never amount to anything, crushing the spirit under the weight of harshness. But wisdom speaks with both. More, you are better than these mistakes. I see greatness in you, but you need to rise, discipline yourself more and push further. That marriage of honesty and care awakens growth rather than paralysis. In our daily lives, many of us default to one extreme. More, some are so afraid of conflict that they sugarcoat every reality until nothing true is left in their words. More, others are so zealous for truth that they burn bridges in the name of honesty, mistaking harshness for courage. More, yet the calling of a higher life is to carry both, to become people who can speak words that heal without deceiving, who can confront without destroying. More, to practice this balance is to honor both love and integrity, mercy and righteousness. True kindness is not weakness, it is strength restrained. More, offered with gentleness. True truth is not brutality, it is light that refuses to flatter darkness. When we learn to bring the two together, more, our relationships are transformed. We stop enabling dysfunction under the mask of compassion, and we stop alienating others under the banner of bluntness. More, we become builders instead of destroyers, cultivators instead of flatterers. And in that place, more, our words and actions begin to carry authority, because people know we care enough to tell the truth, and we respect them enough to tell it kindly. More, life itself thrives on this principle. A garden cannot grow in all softness, it needs the sun's warmth and the sharpness of pruning. More, a child cannot mature in all discipline without affection, nor in all affection without correction. So too with us. When kindness and truth walk together, more, we reflect a wholeness that the world is starving for. This is the way of wisdom, the way of impact. More, the way of lives that do more than comfort. They transform. Boundaries are not walls of fear, but gates of purpose. More, they protect the vineyard of your calling. Too often, we confuse boundaries with rejection or hostility, as though saying no means we lack compassion or that drawing a line means we have stopped loving. Yet, more, boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about protecting what is sacred within. If you imagine your life as a vineyard, more, every vine you tend represents your time, your focus, your relationships, and your calling. Without proper fences and gates, more, the vineyard is left open to anything that wanders through, predators that trample the soil, strangers who pluck the fruit without asking, more, or weeds that choke out the growth. Boundaries are the structures that guard the vineyard so that the fruit of your labor can ripen, mature, more, and be offered in season. Without them, your purpose will be robbed before it ever bears its full harvest. More, when people hear the word boundary, they often think of distance, coldness, or isolation. But in truth, more healthy boundaries are acts of wisdom and love. A gate does not exist to keep everything away, it exists to regulate what comes in and what goes out. More, in the same way, boundaries do not stop you from loving people, but they guide that love so it is expressed in ways that are healthy, sustainable, more, and aligned with your purpose. Without them, your kindness gets misdirected, your energy gets drained, and your focus is scattered. And soon, more, the very mission you were entrusted with becomes neglected because you were too busy tending to every demand that pressed against you. More purpose requires protection. If you are called to create, you cannot spend your hours endlessly appeasing. If you are called to lead, more, you cannot allow manipulation to steer you off course. If you are called to heal, you must not allow toxic patterns to constantly poison your peace. More, boundaries are the guardians of your assignment. They say, "This is my space to cultivate, and I will not allow anything that steals, strangles, more, or stunts what is being grown here." And just as a farmer defends his land from pests and thieves, so too must you defend your time, your heart, more, and your vision. Some people will resist your boundaries. They will accuse you of being selfish or unkind, not because you are doing wrong, more, but because your boundaries interrupt their convenience. They were used to unrestricted access, used to you saying yes without hesitation. More, used to drawing from your well without ever bringing their own bucket. When you finally build a gate, they may push against it, more, hoping guilt will pry it open. But do not mistake their resistance as evidence that you are wrong. In fact, more, it often proves that your boundaries were necessary. For what is truly healthy will respect a gate, what is manipulative will resent it. More, living without boundaries is like leaving your front door unlocked and wondering why strangers wander in. More, living with boundaries is recognizing that not everyone is meant to enter every room of your life. Some belong in the outer courtyard, more, some in the living room, and only a trusted few in the innermost chambers of your heart. Gates remind us that access is not the same as love. More, you can love someone deeply while still saying, "This far and no further." That statement is not cruelty, it is clarity. It allows love to be real, more, not forced. And consider this, even the most sacred places are protected. The temple had gates. The holy places had curtains. More, the most precious things were shielded, not because they lacked value, but because their value demanded honor. In the same way, your life is a temple. Your gifts, your calling, your energy, your peace. They are not meant for indiscriminate use. They are entrusted to you for a reason, more, and if you do not guard them, they will be squandered by those who do not appreciate their worth. So, set the gates of your life with courage. More, open them wide to what nourishes your purpose, and close them firmly to what drains it. Let boundaries be the architecture of your strength, more, the safeguard of your peace and the steward of your mission. They are not walls of fear, but gates of purpose, and through them, more, the vineyard of your life can flourish, unspoiled and fruitful, ready to offer its best harvest to the world. More, saying no to manipulation is saying yes to mission. Too many lives have been drained because people confuse kindness with compliance. More, they bend and stretch themselves to fit every demand, believing that agreeing with everyone makes them loving, while in truth it only makes them exhausted, more resentful, and distracted from the very reason they were put here. Every time you say yes to something that manipulates you, drains you, more, or dishonors your values, you are unknowingly saying no to your mission. More, and your mission is far too important to be traded for the approval of those who seek only to use you. Manipulation is subtle. More, it rarely comes with a flashing warning sign. Sometimes it dresses itself in flattery. You're the only one who can help. Sometimes it wears the mask of guilt. If you really cared, more, you would do this for me. At other times it disguises itself in urgency. This has to be done right now, and if you don't do it, more, everything will fall apart. But underneath the wrapping paper, more, manipulation always has the same root. It demands your energy without respecting your boundaries. It pulls you into obligations that do not belong to you. More, and it ties your worth to someone else's control. When you bow to manipulation, you are not serving love, you are serving fear. You fear rejection, more, so you comply. You fear conflict, so you avoid standing firm. You fear being misunderstood, so you overextend yourself to keep everyone appeased. More, yet every time you surrender to that fear, your mission is delayed. More, the hours you were meant to invest in your calling are spent patching up someone else's irresponsibility. More, the energy you were meant to pour into building your future is poured into managing their crisis. More, the strength you were meant to preserve for your destiny is wasted on keeping manipulators comfortable. But the moment you say, no, something shifts. More, it may not be comfortable. Manipulators do not surrender easily. They will test your resolve, accuse you of being selfish, more, or attempt to guilt you back into compliance. But your now is not selfishness, it is stewardship. More, it is the recognition that your mission matters more than the convenience of others. Saying no to manipulation is an act of courage. More, for it declares that your life will no longer be dictated by guilt, pressure, or fear. Instead, it will be guided by clarity, conviction, and purpose. More, every great mission requires the discipline of no. Imagine a runner preparing for a race. If he says yes to every invitation to stay up late, more, to eat without discipline, or to skip training, he forfeits his mission of winning. In the same way, if you keep saying yes to manipulative voices, more, you forfeit the race of your own destiny. A mission demands focus. It demands that you guard your time, your heart, more, and your vision as treasures that cannot be bartered away. And manipulation, left unchallenged, will rob you of all three. More, this is not a call to become hardened or unkind. True love is never manipulated, and true kindness is never coerced. More, saying no to manipulation is not a rejection of people. It is a rejection of the control that seeks to shrink you. Ironically, more, it is also the greatest gift you can give to the manipulator because it refuses to feed their dysfunction. More, your resistance may frustrate them in the moment, but it creates the possibility of growth. Enabling only cements dysfunction. More boundaries create the chance for transformation. The choice, then, more is between living enslaved to the demands of others or living faithful to the mission placed in your hands. Every time you decline manipulation, more you reclaim another piece of your freedom, your clarity, and your strength. You begin to walk lighter, think clearer, more, and live more aligned with your true calling. And when you are aligned, more, your mission begins to flourish in ways it never could while you were chained to false obligations. More, so do not fear the power of no. Wield it with wisdom, wield it with courage, and wield it with consistency. More, each no to manipulation is a resounding yes to your mission, a declaration that your life will be defined not by pressure or guilt, more, but by purpose and destiny. Discernment separates the genuinely needy from the perpetually entitled. Life constantly places people before you, some broken, more, some desperate, some wounded, some merely demanding. Without discernment, every cry sounds the same, every request feels urgent, more, and every person appears deserving of your time and energy. Yet discernment is the lens that allows you to see beyond appearances, more, to distinguish between those who truly need help and those who simply drain without end. More, it is the wisdom that keeps compassion from turning into exploitation and generosity from becoming self-destruction. More, not everyone who stretches out a hand is asking for healing. Some are asking for control. More, not everyone who cries out is in pain. Some are crying because they've grown comfortable manipulating pity. Discernment does not mean you stop caring. More, it means you care wisely. It does not mean you harden your heart. It means you guard it from being misused. More, there is a vast difference between the person who stumbles and desires to rise again and the one who refuses to walk but expects to be carried forever. More, discernment helps you know which is which. If you look at nature, even it teaches this principle. A gardener waters the tree that produces fruit, more prunes the branch that is potential, but cuts off the branch that only steals nutrients and weakens the whole. The gardener is not cruel, more the gardener is wise. Without such discernment, the healthy parts of the tree would wither because of what is unproductive. In the same way, more, when you give endlessly to the perpetually entitled, you rob the genuinely needy of what you could have offered them. You cannot pour into everyone, more, but you can pour deeply into those who are ready to grow. The entitled will always demand more than you can give. Their thirst is unquenchable, more, not because they lack, but because they refuse responsibility. They want your energy without offering gratitude, your time without showing respect, more, your sacrifice without any intention of changing. And the more you give, the more they expect. More, their vocabulary often includes guilt-inducing words like, if you love me, you would, or you're supposed to be there for me. Yet discernment hears through the words, more, recognizing that love is not measured by blind compliance, and help is not proven by endless surrender. On the other hand, more, the genuinely needy may not even know how to ask. Their voice trembles, their pride resists admitting weakness. More, their request is wrapped in humility rather than entitlement. When you give to them, you see growth, gratitude, and change. Your investment produces fruit. More, your time creates transformation. Your kindness builds strength. More, that is the soil worth sowing into, the soil that multiplies what you give rather than consuming it without return. Discernment requires courage, more, because it means you will sometimes be misunderstood. When you refuse to enable the entitled, they will accuse you of being unkind. More, when you choose to direct your energy toward those truly in need, others may say you are playing favorites. But discernment is not about pleasing everyone. More, it is about stewarding your resources wisely. It is about saying, I will not waste my oil on lamps that refuse to burn. More, I will pour it where light will shine. For your time is sacred, your energy is finite. More, and your mission is too important to be squandered on endless cycles of enabling. Discernment is what preserves you from burnout. More, what shields you from manipulation, and what allows you to give where it matters most. It is not selfish to discern, it is stewardship. More, it is the recognition that you are not called to carry every burden, but you are called to carry the right ones. So learn to look deeper. Ask yourself, more, Does this person seek change or comfort in their chaos? Do they take responsibility when offered help, or do they only demand more? More, does my giving create healing, or does it perpetuate dependency? The answers to these questions will reveal who is needy and who is entitled. In the end, more, discernment frees you to love wisely, to give fruitfully, and to live purposefully. It ensures that your kindness becomes a catalyst for transformation. More, not a crutch for stagnation. With discernment, your yes becomes powerful, your now becomes protective. More, and your life becomes aligned with the mission that deserves your best. Your time, focus, and peace are sacred resources. Guard them like an altar. More, too often, people treat their inner life as though it were an open marketplace where anyone can walk in, set up shop, and demand attention. More, but you are not a public square. You are a temple. Your mind, your focus, your peace are not cheap commodities to be squandered on endless distractions. More, manipulations or trivialities. They are treasures entrusted to you for a higher purpose, and if you do not guard them, more others will consume them without hesitation. Time is the most precious resource you will ever possess. Unlike money, you cannot earn more. More, unlike possessions, you cannot replace it. Every yes you give is an investment of hours you will never retrieve. And yet, more, how easily we trade it away, scrolling endlessly, entertaining drama, pleasing those who have no respect for our schedule. More, allowing every urgent request to pull us from what truly matters. Time is sacred because it is life itself, counted in minutes and hours. More, to waste your time is to waste your life. Guard it as you would guard treasure in a vault. Say yes with intention, say no with clarity. More, and let every commitment be weighed against your mission. Focus is the power to channel your energy toward what matters most. Without focus, more, your days scatter into fragments, 1,000 half-finished tasks and distractions that leave you exhausted but unfulfilled. With focus, even a small window of time can produce great fruit. Yet focus is constantly under attack by noise, by comparison, by manipulation, more by the endless lure of the urgent. Every distraction is a thief, and if you do not guard your focus, your destiny will remain half-built. More, consider how builders construct a great cathedral stone by stone, year after year, with undivided focus. In the same way, more, your calling will not be built through scattered energy, but through guarded attention. Protect your focus from the trivial, more, so it can be invested in the eternal. Peace is the atmosphere in which your soul can thrive. Without peace, even success feels empty, more, and even blessings feel heavy. Peace is not the absence of noise, it is the presence of order within you. It is a gift, but it is also a responsibility. More, you cannot expect to live in peace if you constantly allow chaos through the gates of your life. There are people who thrive on conflict, who stir drama, more, who carry storms with them wherever they go. If you do not guard your peace, their turbulence will become your environment. More. Guarding your peace means choosing carefully who has access to your heart, your conversations, and your inner world. More, it means removing yourself from cycles of chaos and standing firm in the calm that aligns you with your purpose. Think of an altar in a sacred temple. More, no one treats it casually. It is not a table for clutter nor a stage for every performer. It is set apart, holy, honored, protected. Your time, focus, more, and peace are no different. They are the altar upon which your life is built, the sacred space where your mission is sustained. More. If you allow them to be trampled, polluted, or squandered, you weaken the very foundation of your calling. But when you guard them, more, you create a space where clarity thrives, creativity flourishes, and strength is renewed. This guarding will require courage. More. People will misunderstand when you choose silence over constant accessibility, when you decline their endless demands, when you protect your mornings, more your evenings, your sacred hours. They may call it selfishness, but it is not. It is wisdom. You are choosing to honor what is holy in your life, more so you can pour from fullness rather than emptiness. More, only when your altar is protected can you offer yourself as a blessing to others without burning out or breaking down. So take back your time. More, reclaim your focus. Guard your peace. Treat them as sacred resources, not to be given away carelessly, but to be invested with purpose. More, for your mission depends on them, your destiny is built upon them, and your future will be measured by how faithfully you guarded the altar within. More, love sometimes disappoints people to obey a higher obedience. We live in a world where love is often confused with constant agreement, endless sacrifice, more, and never saying no. Many believe that if you truly love someone, you must always make them happy, meet their demands, and shield them from disappointment. More, yet real love is not measured by how well you keep others pleased. It is measured by how faithfully you remain aligned with truth, purpose, more, and higher calling. Sometimes love must risk misunderstanding, even rejection, in order to remain true. And in those moments, more, the most loving act is not to say yes. It is to obey the higher voice that calls you to integrity, growth, and destiny. More, there will be times when the people around you want you to compromise your convictions for their comfort. More, they may ask you to stay small so they feel secure, to soften your voice so they are not challenged, to walk in circles so they do not feel left behind. More, saying yes to them may temporarily keep peace, but it robs you of your obedience to a greater purpose. More, and if you betray your mission to keep others content, you may win their approval but lose yourself. More, love does not exist to preserve someone else's illusions. It exists to guide them toward truth, even when that truth is uncomfortable. And consider a parent raising a child. If love meant only avoiding disappointment, then discipline would never exist. Boundaries would never be set. More, correction would never be given, and the child would grow up indulged, weak, and unprepared for life. More, yet it is precisely because the parent loves that they risk disappointing the child in the moment. The child may pout, cry, or ribble. More, but the parent sees beyond temporary feelings to long-term growth. That is higher obedience. Choosing what is right, not what is easy. More, even when it disappoints in your own life, there will be those who misunderstand your choices. They may call your boundaries cold, your truth harsh. More, your decision selfish. But love does not always look like compliance. Sometimes it looks like stepping away so another can grow on their own. More, sometimes it looks like speaking a hard truth that shakes their comfort. More, sometimes it looks like walking into your destiny while others beg you to remain in their dysfunction. More, to obey the higher call is to recognize that pleasing everyone is not love, it is bondage. Love is not weakness, love is courage. More, it takes courage to risk someone's anger in order to stay true to your values. It takes courage to say, I will not enable you anymore. More, because I love you enough to let you face the consequences of your choices. It takes courage to walk the narrow road of obedience while others call you harsh, more, unkind, or distant. But in the end, love rooted in obedience produces fruit, while love rooted in appeasement produces only decay. More, even the greatest teachers, leaders, and visionaries throughout history were often misunderstood by the very people they loved. More, their obedience disappointed crowds, families, and friends, but their faithfulness changed the world. They did not come to coddle everyone's feelings. More, they came to fulfill a mission. That same principle applies to you. Your mission will sometimes require decisions that make others uncomfortable. More, your higher obedience will sometimes draw criticism, but if you bow to every demand for approval, more, you will forfeit the very purpose for which you were created. The truth is, this love that never disappoints is not real love. It is compromise. Real love seeks the highest good, not the cheapest approval. Real love points to truth, even if it means walking alone for a season. More, real love obeys the voice of calling, even if it breaks the expectations of others. And in time, more, those who once felt disappointed may look back and realize that your courage was the very act that set them free. More, so do not be afraid to disappoint people when higher obedience calls. Do not be afraid to risk their misunderstanding when truth demands your voice. More, love is not always soft, nor always agreeable, nor always convenient. Love sometimes wounds to heal, sometimes disrupts to awaken. More, sometimes says no to preserve what truly matters. If you must choose between pleasing people and obeying your mission, choose obedience. For in the end, more, that is the purest form of love, faithful, courageous, and eternal. So what is the message of it all? It is this: more. Stop scattering yourself in every direction. Stop diluting your strength in the name of a kindness that cost you your soul. More. You were not placed here to keep everyone comfortable. You were placed here to fulfill a calling, to guard the vineyard of your life. More, to shine with undivided purpose. Kindness without truth is a chain. Truth without kindness is a weapon. But when they are joined in wisdom, more, they become power. Boundaries are not barriers of fear, they are gates of destiny, keeping your purpose safe from the thieves of distraction. Saying no to manipulation is not cruelty, it is your loudest yes to the mission that demands your focus. Discernment is the oil in your lamp. More, teaching you to pour into the truly needy instead of feeding endless entitlement. Your time, your focus, and your peace are sacred altars. Guard them. More, honor them and let no one defile them. And above all, know that love is not proven by constant agreement. Sometimes the most faithful love will disappoint. More, because it bows to a higher obedience that never bends to human approval. So walk away from the chains of false kindness. More, lift your head from the noise of endless demands. Draw the lines that protect your mission. Speak the truth with love. More, give your best where it will bear fruit, and let your no be as holy as your yes. Some will misunderstand, some will resist. More, some will accuse, but heaven will know, and your destiny will breathe free again. For the world does not need another worn-out soul who lived to please. More, the world needs a focused life, a courageous voice, a steady hand that protects what is sacred and pours it out with wisdom. Be that life. Be that voice. More, be that steward. And let the gates of your purpose stand strong, so the vineyard of your calling may flourish in its season, full and unspoiled, more ready to offer its best harvest to the world.